Welcome back, welcome back. I'm Dr. Brittany Burns with Red Specs and Teal Takes. And welcome to episode 2, okay? So today's episode is really dear to my heart. It's basically I did everything I was supposed to do. Now what? This could be getting your degree. This could be following everything that God has told you to do, and things are not looking or shaping up as you thought they would, if that makes sense. So for me, I got my doctorate degree last year. And it was a journey. It was a journey. Some parts were more enjoyable than others. And that first, I would say 6 months of me working on dissertation was like hell for me. I had this horrible mentor, like, yuck. Okay. Horrible. But God delivered me to a new one after I had to do so much documentation and whatnot, to get rid of this person. And I ended up with a great one. And my last year of dissertation was great. I had the support that I needed. But once I was done, like once I did the defense and all of that, your girl was on fumes. Like I was so burnt out to the point, I was so burnt out, but I could not rest, right? And it literally took my mom and my sister calling me like, bruh, like, you're good. Like you defended. All you gotta do is wait for your stuff to be conferred, and then you graduate. Like it's okay for you to rest, but I was literally on pins and needles, just waiting for the other shoe to drop until I got that email about my degree being conferred, which was like a whole nother month later, right? There was so much anxiety that went with me using my doctor title, even because I'm like, once I defended and they said congratulations, I was using the title because I worked hard not to not use the title. And some stuff started to piss me off. Like I would post about it like on LinkedIn, and there was one person, she's like, well, when you post about it again, when it's all said and done, I'll say congratulations. How about you don't say nothing at all? And you get a matter of fact, you're about to be removed from my page because don't piss me off. No, I've earned it. I'm a doctor. Yeah. And whether you refer to me as a doctor or not, girl, bye. That person's no longer on my LinkedIn. But anyway, yeah, but I went through this, I would say for the last year, not including right now because I'm good now, but from May of 2025 until literally, almost a year. Yeah, I would say May 2025 until about February, March of this year, 2026, I did not want to research anymore. And that's literally a part of, I wouldn't say my job specifically because I'm a college professor, but, and I'm not tenure track or anything like that. So I don't have to do research, but it looks good if I do research for my CV and whatnot. But once I finished my research for my dissertation, Brittany was not trying to research. Like I was not trying to, and my thing is reentry. For those of you who don't know, reentry is my passion. And my purpose. I just did not want to do anything reentry related. I didn't want to do anything about looking at ProQuest. I didn't want to do anything that had to do with that because I was so burnt out. And I had to get to a point to where I had to figure out who Brittany was again, because I had been on the go since literally when I graduated with my bachelor's in 2008. And I did take a break between then and 2014 before I got my master's. And then I took another break after I got my master's. Not a long break, but I took a break, like maybe a year and a half. And then I started my doctorate in 2018. So it was just kind of like, I've been working full time, been a student full time, and a professor full time. Now what do I do? Who am I? Like I really had, I went through imposter syndrome for a minute. Like, oh God, like I felt like, okay, now I have this title. Who am I? who, what, when, where, how. And oh God, now I have to prove myself, not like I didn't just prove myself in my research, you know? And what I found was there were a lot of other doctoral candidates and people who were graduating who felt the exact same way, because I'm in all these groups on social media. And a lot of us felt this way. We were like, you get to the very last part of it and you're just like, is it worth it? You know, you spent all this money. I mean, I don't know how them people gonna get their money back. I mean, I'm paying on it monthly now, but I'm in deferment until next year. I'm paying other things right now. But I'm heavy on the Jesus paid it all. You know, all to him I owe. I don't know how y'all gonna get that money. We trust in God over here. I trust in God. Okay, because I don't know. I have forgiven myself for those loans. Okay, I don't want to tell you, but anyway, but a lot of people who go through this, like, they really just kind of like, now that I'm here, what do I do now? And then there's always that, am I going to be able to find a job or whatever? But that was not my story. I already had a job. You know, I was already teaching. My mentor had contacted me like January 2nd, 2024. I literally still working my dissertation. Haven't even gotten all my participants yet. And she hit me up, was like, yo, I'm trying to retire. Do you want my job? And I'm like, tell me more. It's fully remote, all this stuff. You don't have to travel to New York. And I'm like, yes. And in the back of my head while I'm working on that, I'm like, is this really happening? And I mean, I might go more into this on another show. But yeah, so I already had a job, you know, like, and it wasn't tenure, it's a clinical instructor position. So that was the least of my worries, was my job, you know. It was just because I just didn't want to research anymore. And that was okay. And I had to get to myself to a point where I was like, that's okay. Let's just take a break. So the only thing I wanted to do was to find my creative center again. And I do like to write, but I wanted to not write about reentry. I didn't want to write about, the only thing I wanted to focus on was getting my syllabuses together for the summer for my students and for the fall. Get them squared away. Find out what kind of professor I was when I didn't have the extra additive of working on my own stuff while grading their stuff. So it was me going to my first year of just teaching, not worried about meetings with a mentor, trying to make sure chapters 1 through whatever are ready and all that stuff, and proposals, and I didn't have to worry about that. All I had to focus on were my students. So it was great. But I was like, I want to write, but what do I want to write about? So I took a actual old situationship from back in the day, and I turned it into a romance novel, which is actually pretty good, by the way. I have a pen name, Sage Devereaux. And I wrote one book turned into 3. And I invested in the book talk community, or Bookstagram mostly, and built a community off of just tapping into my creative center. And then fast forward to February, a friend of mine who's also a doctor, she had a sister speaker workshop. And I was like, am I a speaker though? Is this something I want to do eventually? Sure. And so I got involved with that, and doing the workshop opened me up to a speaker series that I was thinking about, but I was like, what would I want to talk about? And it really came down to me wanting to talk about being burnt out and being out of alignment and refining yourself. And I read the script to her and the ladies in the group, and she's like, oh, that's good. And then that turned into a whole new book under my name. Not under my pen name, but under the Dr. Brittany name. And next thing I know, I'm releasing that book June 1st of this year. And it's called After the Applause, Girl, You're Not Lazy, You're Just Out of Alignment. And I've gotten some really good feedback from it, especially from other learners like myself. And not just doctoral learners, but just people in general who work on fume, like, are kind of like me. They're just working because society has made us to feel like we have to keep going. We have to, you reach one goal, then you just keep going, especially as Black women. You get here and the goalpost keeps moving, whether we move it ourselves or they do it for us. And then you just get to a point of like, oh my God, I need to go to bed. But then you feel bad about resting. And it's crazy. Like, so I wrote about that, I'm building a framework on that. I actually have a workshop that I'm going to introduce next year around tax time, because it's not going to be free. And yeah. I keep seeing posts in the groups, especially around graduation time, about what I wrote about. And then that gives me the opportunity to say, hey, I wrote a book about this, because you're not the only one who feels that way. There's a lot of us that feels this way, that we're burnt out. We don't know what to do when we get done, because there's no... We are our support group. We're all trauma bonded at this point. Getting a PhD is no sleight of hand. It's hard work. It's a lot of work. Just like getting a master's is hard work. Anything that's worth having is hard work. I promise you. And it's worth it. And just to see people post about doing all this hard work and not being able to find a job is heartbreaking. And then I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, that's not my story. I don't want to be that Debbie, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer in their story. Or not, that wouldn't be being a Debbie Downer. It's more like being boastful, but I make my boast in the Lord, like God really did his big one when it came to me, but it is possible. And you don't want to be that person when someone is trying their best, like they did all this work, they're paying this money, and then the doors are just not opening. So that leads to my next thing. You've done everything you're supposed to do. Now what? Seems like the doors are just closed. What do? You got to work on your transferable skills and stuff. You got to what do you have in your house? That was one of the best things I've ever heard. One of the best sermons I've ever heard was, what do you have in your house? And this is from a church I no longer attend, but it gave me the push to start my business back in 2020. And that sermon was based off of Ephesians 3:20. I'm gonna let y'all go read it for you. Some of y'all should know by heart. I usually know by heart, but it is 11:41 p.m. and I'm a little tired in this moment. But that gave me the name of my business, which is Zoe Life Naturals. And Zoe is the godlike life, the abundant life. And that's the life I strive to live, the godlike life, the abundant life, living in God's abundance, and everything he has for me. So when I started that business, it was for holistic health, reproductive health. I was doing vaginal steaming, herbs, and all the good things. And what I found with that was, if people have never tried it, especially when it comes to their health, they're scared to do it if it's not westernized. And I'm like, westernized, I can't even say it right. That's how tired I am. Westernized medicine is not everything. There's a lot of stuff you can learn holistically. I'm not knocking westernized, but I don't really trust some of the stuff they be putting out there. And this is somebody who's like on a GLP-1 who actually takes shots every week. But I'm very finicky. Most of the stuff that I do for my body is holistic. I believe in herbs. I believe they work if you allow them to. And the vaginal steaming thing, I don't promote anything that I haven't done myself, right? I started doing that because I had like horrible cycles, and I was able to heal myself through the use of vaginal steaming and changing my eating habits and stuff like that. And yeah, so I wanted to take that knowledge and teach other people. And then after a while, business wasn't doing so well, because people they think it's like with anything in society. They want a microwave solution for a lifetime of foolishness, right? And when you try to explain that to people and they invest their money, but they don't take what you give them, like I'll tell them, I'll lead you to water, but I'm not going to make you drink. I'm going to give you what you need, but you have to stick to it. And I've had people, they've given me money and I've given them the solution, but when you check back in with them, oh yeah, I haven't been doing that, but you're wondering why you're still in pain. But anyway, again, I did everything I was supposed to do, but now what? So at that point, I'm working on that. Still trying to finish up my dissertation. And I just put my business on pause. Just paused it. Did a temporary shutdown on the office visits. And once I decided to come back to my business, I decided to do a total rebrand of the business. It's not solely focused on holistic healing, even though holistic healing is a part of the Zoe Life umbrella. You can still access the herbs and stuff on my website. However, I don't do in-person like steam sessions because I was sharing space with my sister in her office because she was sweet enough to open her massage business to let me do on the days that she wasn't there. And I was just like, it's just too much. And I no longer had the capacity to do it anymore. So what I decided to do was to do what I'm good at, which is coaching and resumes and LinkedIn optimization and all that good stuff. And then I wrote my book. And so I was basing my business on a lot of those things, like career coaching, clarity, and all that stuff, or clarity coaching, and getting people where they need to be if that's what they want to do, and just doing other things. And I really had the freedom to do that with the job that I have as a professor. I remote teach, So all that to say is, when you do everything you're supposed to do, and then you start asking, what do I do now? That's when you just start seeking God's help. Like, God, what is in my house? What can I use? What talents, what skills have you given me that I can use with everything else? Not throwing down what you've earned, but how can you maximize what you've earned? You see what I'm saying? So yes, I teach. I love to teach. It's one of my favorite things to do. But with that, what else can I do besides that I can make some more money on the side, or touch into my creative center? Write a book, cool. Make a digital product that goes along with my teaching, which I've done that, and I actually need to work on that and actually post it in my Etsy shop. But that's just where I'm at. Like, my biggest thing was finding me again. And with finding me, what can I do to keep me as close to my authentic self as possible? And I actually had an opportunity to apply for, interview for a position that I had wanted when I was a PO, right? Had the interview date, did the paperwork for it, and then remembered, oh, my hair is teal now. And my hair had been teal for like 2 years at this point, almost 2 years. And I was like, if I did that job, if I took that job, I could probably, interview for it with my hair the color that it is. But if I got the job, I would have to color my hair or wear a wig. And I just didn't feel like doing that. If I can't show up authentically myself, which is authentic to me, who I am now, this is how people know me now. It's like, I've even thought about recoloring my hair a different color this fall and been told by multiple people, no, your hair is teal. Like, excuse the heck out of me. I didn't know I could not color my own hair a different color. I probably won't. Probably will at some point and then color it back. I don't know. Anything's possible. I do pretty much what I want to do. But yeah, I sat there and thought about it, and I reached out to people that I know, and they're like, if you can't show authentically yourself, don't do it. And then I had other people, well, what if you could wear a wig? I was like, I don't like wearing hair hats. Shout out to people that do. It's North Carolina. It's hot. I'm not trying to do that. And what does my hair have to do with me being able to do my job? So no. So I turned it down. And I haven't felt guilt about it, because at the end of the day, I like working from home. I like being half naked in my home all day, every day. I like getting up and working out in my cute little shorts, walking on my walking pad. And then in the evening, grading whatever I need to grade, doing whatever I need to do. I like being here. I like the fact that I don't have to get in my car and go places and drive to Raleigh and try to find parking. So yeah. But yeah, so if you're in the space of trying to figure out what to do next, because everything magically didn't appear once you accomplish what you accomplished, just keep the faith. but find something for your hands to do. Get busy. You know, everything is going to work out. Have faith. Faith without works is dead, though. So remember that. But that's all I have for you guys this week. Next week, it's going to be another favorite topic. This whole first season is going to be lots of good topics. But next week is going to be one of my favorites. It's going to be everybody doesn't get access to you. So, as always, be light, be love. I'm Dr. Brittany Burns with Red Specs and Teal Takes. Until next time.